What are some of the trends that you're seeing on your platform at the moment?
So what's been really kind of interesting when we start digging a bit into the details, we saw over the course of the 12 months in 2020 that there was an increase or a change in the demographic and the change in the account holder. Firstly, we saw an increase in the amount of over 60s that were coming onto the exchange. So we saw
Really?
Yeah, we saw the needle move from 5% to 10% of the total platform. So, and that was at the end of this year, at the end of last year. So I'd be interested to see where we are on the half-year mark. So
That's interesting.
yeah, isn't it? So I mean, and that was off a growing base of clients. So there was an exponential rise in the number of over 60s who are, probably not perceived to be interested in digital assets, but kind of discount them at your peril. There's a really good and engaged investor community there. So that was one interesting demo. But what we also found is we saw a fivefold increase in the number of SMSF accounts that were opening up on the exchange. So people, which is a different investor mindset again than I suppose what's perceived to be a typical digital asset or crypto investor. And so what we'd see with them is that they would, the big four in our exchange is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP in various different kind of connotations of those. And invariably, month on month, those would be the top four that SMSFs would invest in. However, some months we would see other projects like BSV or Ethereum Classic or other, tokens and coins and projects that not everybody has heard of.
Yes.
Into the top four, which for us really illuminating, because that says that investor journey has gone on from not just dipping their toe in, not just putting in some allocation, but actively exploring what the projects are that are out there that appeals to them, appeals to their investment thesis or investment portfolio. Really interesting. I thought that was, and probably belies a greater journey, a greater movement that's happening within the crypto investment community, where despite all the noise and bluster happening over here, there's another part, a core part, that is really looking at this quite closely and getting it under the hood. So, as I say, for us, that was really quite fascinating when we started to look into it.
Yeah, and it sort of speaks almost to the fact that people have come with the vanilla stuff and then learnt and educated themselves and then got more involved over time. And I suppose it sort of speaks to what we're just talking about that education and how it's so important for all investors. So that's interesting. But with the over 60s thing, I find that quite surprising. I couldn't imagine my mum buying crypto. It's hard enough to get her to buy shares in CEA.
You say that. So my dad, God bless him, he's a pensioner. Both my parents probably, would be okay with me visiting at their pension age at this stage. And my dad had always been involved or interested in the share market. He's never not had a kind of an eye on what was happening in the back pages of the business pages. But he hadn't originally been interested in crypto. And then obviously with me in my role, he was like, okay, let's have a look at this. And opened up an account with BTC and, has made an allocation across different asset classes. And his background is actually in engineering. So Ethereum to him was easier for him to get his head around than Bitcoin. He's not really the philosophy of money so much as he into like utility plays and understanding platforms and the kind of the engineering side.
Yes.
And so for him, and he's, as I say, he's pension age, but the concepts and the ideas were what engaged him. And for us then, kind of with the projects that we list on the exchange, and I mean, there's a manifold process that we go through, but one of the processes is what I call the sniff test. It's actually kind of like the dad test. Would I be comfortable with my dad investing in this project? More importantly, would my mum be okay with my dad investing in this project?
Yeah.
Backlash from my mum about where's your dad put his pension money. So as I say, kind of dismissing over 60s at your peril, they're in the market, they're actively looking at projects. But I suspect that the lens that they're viewing it through, if I can take the anecdotal evidence of my dad and other people of similar age that have invested, look at the fundamentals of projects more so than looking at kind of the meme investment and the FOMO hype investment.
Yeah, that's really interesting.